Greetings viewers at home and welcome on another exciting episode of Retro. So we talk about love, lies, truth and pain. Lamuta namuhla nimikhomele mani, nimikhomele tetana zwane, mangete, antikho ngithibela ramani, balethwathwa. You know what? Daveyton is made ethwathwa and Daveyton is made in Daveyton and groomed ethwathwa. Yes. Listen, ethwathwa we have the best people. Ngiyazi ukuthi wena uyazi kabi ngokufuna ukufunda into ezibi ngayo, but let me today bring you know, ubabuzwane umangete from all the way ethwathwa. Usipethele incwadi isihloko sayo esithi The Burning Bush. Angazi ucabanga ngalesihloko, but I think ngimamukele bese sichazele kangcono. My brother, welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Siyabonga ukuba nawe ekhaya.
Awesome.
You know, I'm not so sure what to say, but ethwathwa has a lot of Sundowns players. Let me just say like that. Sundowns boy isenzile but yeah. But again,
all right. Greetings, friends and family. Igama lami Bongani, also known as Bongani the author. Baba, firstly, and then I'm a husband to my beautiful wife, and then I'm a father to my kids, and I'm a son, a ministry that I serve in Pansibolo Mfundisi Joe Siolwane. So ngiyabonga ukuthi ngibe nani today.
Yeah, no, siyabonga. Baba, yes, ngibona incwadi enhle la, the artwork. You know, this is the beautiful book. You know, the cover is beautiful and it looks easy to read. You know, ngoba mina sengeke ngathi ukuphenya amakhasi ambalwa la ngaphakathi. There's a lot of exciting things. But before siyakude, ngitshele ngalesihloko, My Burning Bush. What is My Burning Bush?
Well, My Burning Bush is a collection of testimonies,
yes.
Of times when Nkulunkulu had spoken to me in an unprecedented manner. You know, when God spoke to me in a way that's unheard of, when He did not use a prophet, when He did not use a preacher on the pulpit, but when He just spoke to me directly and told me where I needed to go, the direction I needed to take. You know, so what I've done is in My Burning Bush, I've written about my burning bush experiences that God has given me in my own kind of life, and writing it down was so that whoever reads the book may also experience their own burning bush experiences in their lives, because it happens in a different way. How God speaks to us, He speaks to us in a different, in a unique way.
You know, but well, it's a topic for another day. When you say God spoke to me,
yes,
so uNkulunkulu angakhuluma nozwane kanjani mhlambe ke sidlule singadluli kalula lapho ne uNkulunkulu makakhuluma nawe ukhuluma nawe kanjani?
Yes, Unkulunkulu speaks. Unkulunkulu can speak in directing you. Unkulunkulu can speak in bringing people your life, your way, who might talk about a topic that has been worrying you.
Yes.
You know, sometimes it can be a phone call, sometimes it can be an email. But the thing is, the key here is for us to learn to identify God's voice, because sometimes it is not in the noise that we're hearing. It's not in the news. You know, Elia, when he was going through a tough time in his life, and Ingelosi Ambiza at Waza, now Nkulunkulu. The first was a wind, big wind, and he thought God is in the wind. And guess what? Nkulunkulu beyangekho in the wind. Wabakhona ukuzamazama umhlaba. You know, and God was not in the shaking of umhlaba. Wabakhona umlilo. I mean, he had recently performed a miracle of umlilo, where umlilo ezulwini washiswa umhlatshelo. You know, but God was not in the fire that He knows. He knows very well the fire, so he thought
powerful. That's a full house, you know.
Yes,
yeah, no, I see. Man of God is sweating now. You know, now it's nyambonse kase pulpit ya teacher. But again, what led you to write in My Burning Bush?
Oh, I wrote in My Burning Bush because I was suspended at work. And I think they had suspected that I had stolen.
Okay.
You know, and thank God, which a life of a believer is not a life of a stealer. So, you know, even after their due investigations and whatnot, they could not find which I had stolen. You know, so they then changed the charges into something even bigger, you know, than a a petty, thing such as stealing, and then they called it gross insubordination. So it was all new to me, and in between the hearings, which was all new to me, in between the hearings, in between that whole process, Mom Zalwane, you don't know these things. I grew up in Sontweni, and I've never been in trouble with the law. So for the very first time in my life, I was in trouble with the law. And whilst going through that time of pain, of confusion, there was a drop. I think I was sending an MSA email to my HR to say, rather we part in amicable terms. Singalwini, because ayikho lento enithi ngiyenzile and nani ayikho lena nami akukho engikwenzile kimi okubi. And as I was going out of that email, mangithi boom, there was a topic that said, I'm fighting for you, God, in capital letters. This was on a subject, on an email, on my Gmail account. And when I saw that, and I instantly called my wife, because to me it was a sign which I called my wife, and as I'm speaking to her on the phone, she says to me, you know what, Unkulunkulu is giving you your own beneficial experience. And as she said that, there was that drop. That's why I say God speaks, but it's a matter of us listening. Because I was on a call with my wife, my girlfriend of many years, and the now immediately when she said, God is giving you your own beneficial experience, because God speaking. So there was that interchange, and the book was dropped into my spirit.
And I say, Angazi, what is it that you're going through? I'm not so sure we are born kuleso simo, kuleso simo esibuhlungu, mhlawumbe usulahlekelwe umsebenzi, mhlawumbe sekwenzeke konke, uyambona yini uNkulunkulu, usamethemba na emveni kwazo zonke into odlule kuzo. iBhayibheli alisho ngendlela engisho ngayo, kodwa lalela ngelinye lamalanga uJobe wavuka ekuseni ayisigwili wayolala ntambama ahlupheka ukudlula bonke abantu in a day. So angazi ukuthi wena udlulaphi. But my brother, ngithe mangiphenya la checking your book, and I came across a lot of beautiful content here. But ke kulo double shield ukuthi ume ngabe indodana yakho uJoseph lo waseBhayibhelini abantu bengeke balile ukuzwa ngendlela ezophela ngayo. What do you mean with that?
So this one day Baba Joseph sends Joseph out to give his brothers food. So he goes. Joseph was a dreamer of dreams, that's what they called it.
Yes.
So as he was coming from afar off, and remember, Baba would to a certain place, but now they had moved because Baswela Ubudla, whatever the reason was. So Joseph looks for them, he's frustrated, he does not find them. They've changed the position of Babuyo. So now it's now taking a lot out of him. So he goes, he eventually finds them. And as he sees them, as they see him from the distance, they say, now Mpupo Mapupo again is coming. They already had these thoughts that they had, which was Okuluma, he had a lot to say. So when I was saying, which if at all Joseph was anything like my son MJ, I have a son who's 8 years old, who's also writing a comic book at 8 years old.
Wow.
So he's a speaker of note. To him it came naturally. I don't know if he got it from me or from my wife, but he's got it.
But going from there.
Yeah. So when MJ starts talking, he never stops. So hence I made Joseph, MJ, which if at all Joseph was anything like my son MJ, then his brothers were not going to hear the end of it, because we also
beautiful. Ngibonile ukhuluma ngokweshumi ya.
Yes.
Ukuthi ugcina udla imbewu, ugcina udla kakhulu nembewu zakho. Okusho ukuthi awusenasinye isihlahla uzodla kusona ngoba awukwazi ukutshala wena. So tell me, what's the secret there?
Sure. Kwesinye isikhathi we are hard pressed from all angles. Kwesinye isikhathi you get to a point where you start budgeting, budgeting 10%. Which it's actually not yours. Yazi umuntu uthathe imbewu yakhe wangayitshala uma abanye batshala by the time bavuna he's got nothing yena to reap ngenxa yokuthi yena yakhe imbewu wayidla azange ayiphonsele emhlabathini. You know, so if singatshali in the places uNkulunkulu asibeke kuzona ukuthi sitshale kuzo, I actually say further on the same chapter ukuthi what you won't lay on God's feet, He will never claim sovereignty over.
Oh,
you know, so if ungamnikezanga uNkulunkulu wathi nako angeke asithathele yena.
Ndanasekhaya yazini this is a powerhouse, you know, it's a full house namhlanje. Ngiyathemba ukuthi uliphethe pen nephepha uyawathatha futhi ama-notes simply because of wonke umuntu ongatshali ayikho into ayoyivuna. So namhlanje funda ukutshala. Nithi funda ukutshala. Lalela kunenye inkondlo eka Mpongose uthi uma ngabe ngaleliya langa wafaka ijazi ngabe namhlanje sikugcokisa ijazi angazi ukuya ngizwe kodwa ke ngoba wena ulifakanga ijazi ngayelanga namhlanje uyagodola ufaka amajazi ngisho lokho utshaka namhlanje ukuze ukwazi ukuthi uvune ukhumbule ukuthi la ngotshela ngalo akusilanga uvuna ngalo. It takes a wise man to plant a tree whom he knows ukuthi angeke aphinde aenjoy umthunzi wakhe. So emveni ukuthi afikele umsebenzi ngifuna sibe realistic. At first when you get the accusation, what happened in your mind?
It took me forever to memorize the legality suspension.
Yeah.
Each time anyone, I'd say they fired me, and then my wife would remind me, no, you're not fired, you're suspended.
Sure.
Because it's a big weight for me, you know. From Uti, when I started working, I started from general work. I was just a sweeper of floors, a mopper of floors, and from there to finding yourself in a office chair, in a corner office, in the aircon. Aircon. There was aircon in my office. I had euphonium, you know, and all of a sudden, that security is taken away. You know, leyo mkholo leyo kwazi ukuthi ngibhadala kuzo ngiyapatanisa, you know, ngibhadala ikweleti zami. It was instantly taken away. You know, so when everything comes crashing down, when everything that could go wrong goes wrong, that's what happened in my life. And I found myself stuck. I found myself asking Nkulunkulu, what do I do? You know, and then Nkulunkulu took me back to the gifts that He had given me.
From day one, God has been graduating you. Yes. From a super to a mobile to an office. Yes. And again, what graduation that later we will expect.
No,
But the graduation.
It is a big one, because what it means now is instead of going to enrich someone or work for someone, I now work on the gift. Because Kumbula, in the book there's a place where I said fired by people, but hired by God. You know, because as they fired me, He reminded me and immediately reinstated me well in the office. I thought my office was the corner office, but my office was in the burning bush. It was in the experiences that I was going through in my life, and that's an office that no one can take away.
Very true.
Hence the minute they took away their office, God put me in my office. And then I started operating in that and
that's a good restoration.
Good restoration and cool that.
Okay, every promise that the Lord has given us is true. It stands uncontested. Yazi ukuthi sonke mhlambe siye sawasho ngamagama out of excitement, but in your personal experience, what gives you the courage to say these words?
You know, there's a time where the enemy will strip you naked. There's a time where you'll find yourself which you walk of shame. You know, where in the places where you used to be respected, uhlonishwa, uthathwa njengomuntu serious, and then kususwe lokho kuwe. You know, uNkulunkulu kunama promises asiphe wona. Uthi kuJeremiah, before you were born, I knew you. Before my parents were ahlangana, thandana, alavana, He knew you. You know, before you were formed, you know, He knew you. Indaba is in God knowing us. So whatever God has said in the beginning, because there's a poem I wrote that says, I live my life in the beginning. When we go back to the beginning where God created us, where He intended us to be, So in the beginning, that's when Nkulunkulu has given us the promise, which we shall be the head and not the tail. He said we will be above and not beneath. Listen, even if you see more, even if your position has put you in a place of being under, just know which is you are above. Even when you're under, you are still above. So kunzima sometimes to believe and take uNkulunkulu on his promises, because he said it, which is phezulu. So ngenxa yokuthi akushilo yena, akekho umuntu ongakushintsha. Noma isimo sakho sesizama ukukushintsha ukukusiguqula, but the fact is he said it. So we must take God on his promises, because his promises in Bible, they are yes and amen, even if we change.
Yeah, amen. Yazi kunendaba la engithema ngiyifunda, yazi engezwe manje ngaba namanyabila, yazi amanyabila waselokushini. Yeah, ukuthi kune character kaDavid oyi-explainayo othi revelation uNkulunkulu akuphe yona in this book. Can you tell me more?
Ooh, okay, so David.
So now it gives me the ooh.
Yeah, no. When God deposited, give me it. Even young Shina, young as this. So when David Elusa, he comes across a lion.
Yes.
He fights the lion. A lion, a man that can intimidate you.
Sure.
When he's done with the lion, and remember, one of the biggest things about a lion is the true sign of a lion is it roars. And when a lion roars, there's an earthquake somewhere. So he fights the lion, which has a big intimidating roar. Next in line comes a bear. So he thought he was done. There comes a bear. He needs to protect what uNkulunkulu has given him. So he immediately, instinctive color that kicked in was fight. He fights the bear. He conquers the bear. He is done. He's graduated. uNkulunkulu mshaya graduation yakhe in the wilderness. You know, because kukhona lokho esimele sikunqobe kuqala emakamelweni wethu ezindlini zethu before the world may know us. You know, so after he's conquered the lion and the bear, he is now faced with a situation. Naye bheka uva isiqhando njengoJoseph, njengolittle Joe, uva isiqhando kumahrotman wakhe. Makafika, he finds a guy who's a giant. You know, he's a giant, he's standing tall, he's loud. You know, so now what the Lord showed me was Goliath had a stature of the bear.
Yeah.
And also he had the roar of a lion. So Goliath was a combination of both in one. It was a package deal. So the reason why the soldiers was Israel, they instantly turned into toy soldiers. That's what I call them. Because they were afraid, and they were like, you know, they could not face him, because they never fought a lion, they never fought a bear before, you know. But uNkulunkulu was writing a resume yaga David in the wilderness, and he said to him, you'll fight both these animals in one. But he was not aware, which that's what God was preparing him for. Hence he had the audacity to face Goliath and say, who is this uncircumcised man or who's throwing insults at igama likaNkulunkulu?
Yeah. Listen, you see, the same God who gave you strength to pass grade 1, he's gonna make you pass grade 10. He's gonna make you pass varsity. It is the same God, you know, he's not different. The same God who was there, who interviewed, who passer, who told him, he's the same God who's gonna fight you. You know, lengcina kubhekane nazo. Mhlawumbe emshadweni akusekho right. Mhlawumbe ekhaya usabone ngasolinye nomndeni. Mhlawumbe emsebenzini anisazwani. Enkonzweni ufila ngathi abasakuboni kahle. Listen, sometimes you don't need to walk ngama feelings. You need to walk ngezwi lakhe ngoba thina sine evidence ekumele siyiproduce ngaso sonke isikhathi ukuthi ushilo ukuthi akukho isikhali esibekelwe mina esiyophumelela. Don't lose God because of your inner storm. You know, one story that I love, Peter, the inner storm, you know, so I normally say it's a hurricane, you know, and you know, the sound of a hurricane can wake anyone. But Christ is asleep, you know.
Peacefully so.
Peacefully so. And this is me. He needed a voice to remind him. Ngicela umkhumbuza namhlanje. Ngicela namhlanje uyomkhumbuza ukuthi baba, ngiyacela, ngiyafa, ngiyacwila. Do something for me. Do something for me, you know. Yeah, please. You know, Mntanasekhaya, I know ukuthi you see us here, you think everything is okay. It's okay vele ngoba siyamazi simthemba, you know. Yeah, noma indlela imaginqi khona. Othe siye sithembe yena. So, baba, why should I read this book?
You know, the book is written for everyone who's going through something. There's something that the current pandemic has taught us. You know, it has taught us which mali yakho is nothing. It has taught us which health is important. You know, and he started sonke, all of us, the rich, the wealthiest in the world, and the poorest. Bazithola basendaweni eyi-one, you're all on lockdown. You know, it was as if uNkulunkulu was just pressing the reset button in our lives.
Yeah.
You know, so we all go through something. I went through something, and I wrote. You know, uNkulunkulu started saying, write these things down, and I started writing these things down, so that whoever that will read, who's going through the same, even if mhlambe what you're going through seems like it's unique to you, it seems like into truth of the matter is, no matter how good we look sometimes, no matter the cars we drive sometimes, no matter the houses we drive sometimes, we are all going through something. So this book is for anyone and anyone who's going through anything in their lives.
So this book is for you.
Yes.
It's for you, because I know that you're struggling in some areas of your life. But babzwane ngiyabona la ukuthi kunencwadi isihloko sakhona sithi Under Fire, the marriage institution. Kancane nje ngayo. Why must I read that book?
So the book Under Fire, I just finished writing in my burning bush, and I was asking uNkulunkulu which was the next step, because incwadi iphelile, I need funds to print the book. And uNkulunkulu, instead of answering me in my burning bush, he instantly gave me this topic that says Under Fire, the marriage institution. You know, it talks about the troubles that we go through in marriages. You know, imshado looks rosy. You know, it looks beautiful. You know, it looks pampered up. It looks like it's something that happens. It looks like is every marriage is going through something. Is going through a test.
Yeah.
And what the Lord started showing me was before the church, before the government, before anything else in the world, the institution that we created and put on the garden, similar back in the beginning now, was a family. You know, so he put Adam or Eva. It was family. So the reason why Mishado is going through is under attack, is under duress, is simply because it is Mishado is entering uNkulunkulu. You know, so that's what the enemy is fighting the most. You know, so I wrote this book for abantu abashadile nabantu abafuna ukushada nabantu abazibuza ukuthi uma ngikhetha ngikhetha kanjani. Kwesinye isikhathi kunalesomiso lesi esibakhona esontweni. There's something called an absence of men. Kuyenzeka ukuthi uthole ukuthi emasontweni there's an absence of men. Omama bakhona basindisiwe bagcwalise ngomoya kaNkulunkulu bakhuleka ngezilimi, but mababheka esontweni azikho insizwa ezingabathatha zibashade ngenxa yokuthi kunalento ebizwa ngokuthi absence of men. You know, bese bagcine fall into the trap where they go outside of the church bounds, you know, to get their life partner. And bathi hayi uNkulunkulu akashongo lutho singahamba siyoyidobhela shemngale ngaphandle. Eqinisweni ukuthi ubumnyama nokukhanya akuhlangani. Makhona ukukhanya ubumnyama kuyabaleka. Makhona ubumnyama ukukhanya kuyabaleka. You know, so yes, you can't have them both. You know, so kubalekile ukuthi before sikhetha ama life partners, you know, uthole a helpmate. Ungazitholi usune sword mate.
Listen, take a pen, take a paper, because we are about to give you ama details kababuzwane. So if you need him for an event, azokhuluma mhlambe bandlile ufuna azoshandisinyana ringe namajita, because ngiyeza ukuthi I know uyilo hlobo ekwazi ukuringa namajita namasestere. No, take a pen please. Oh yes. Yeah, no, but no, the paper lincane. Can you please take a diary? Yeah, no, uzolahla le paper. Thank you. Yeah, babuzwane. So uma ngabe umuntu ufuna ukukhuluma nawe personal because of kunenda izwile udinga incwadi le udinga the second book, you know, mhlambe kunento nje afuna umqeqesho kuyo, mentorship, advice, how can we get hold of you?
For now, okwamanje, you know, since lona kumsebenzi omusha omkhulu that uNkulunkulu is doing, uma umuntu afuna ukuthola incwadi they get it through me.
Yes.
Like I gotta be my bookstores, I gotta be anywhere else. It's still, available. Give me directly. So if you want a copy of my book, if you want to book me for an event or whatever the case may be, you can reach me on these numbers. It's 081 441 6840. And then if you'd like, you can also send me an email, whoopis104@gmail.com.
Oh yes. Uzwile-ke mhlawumbe lapha kuma-Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
Yeah, Facebook ngiyatholakala as I think it's Bongani Zwane, the author. I have a page that's called Bongani Zwane, the author. And then I have a personal page that's called just Bongani Zwane, I think. And then on Insta, my handle is Bongani Zwane. It's Bongani the author, sorry. On Insta, it's Bongani the author. And then on Twitter, it's Bongani the author as well.
Bongani the author.
Yes.
Siyabonga, ngiyathemba ukuthokozele kakhulu uhlelo namhlanje la sikhuluma khona ngencwadi isihloko sayo esithi My Burning Bush.
Yes,
We all have our burning bush. Let me tell you this, awazi ukuthi sidlulephi ukuze sifike la. And hayi ngoba thina singcono or ngoba sithola ikhamera namhlanje, cha, nawe kuningi odlule khona. Futhi mhlawumbe wona uma ungeza la usichazele isitori sakho, ungasiza thina. But okwanamhlanje sikhuluma ngencwadi My Burning Bush. Ngicela uyithole, inamba uyitholile ku-social media, uyazi ukuthi umthola babuzwane, bese-ke uyayi-order, uyifunde, uma uceda uyibole kumngani wakho, ayifunde, bese naye umtshela ayithenge or umxoxe. Let us just make it a second to support black writers, support black businesses. It's high time we support black and local. Ungizwe kahle, angisi-racist, black and local, okay? Uyangibona mina nginjani ngithi, but I'm local, right? So please support me. We love you. May God bless you. But before sibashiya abalandeli bethu, kunomuntu manje who's at the edge of giving up. Kunomuntu manje who felt church is too much. Kunomuntu manje othi namhlanje angiboni ngizokwazi ukunyamezela engubeni nalo mama or nalo baba. Kunomuntu manje ufile ukuthi yabona lo akangazi. Ngizobonisa lesayida ngalazi. There's someone who's there's someone who's just fed up ngempilo. What can you say to them?
What I can simply say to the viewers out there is God has not forgotten. God has not forgotten about your name, about who you are. He knows your pin location, where you are, exactly where you are. He has not forgotten. People might have forgotten your name. People might have forgotten you exist. People might have forgotten which basizile before. There's a book that Nkulunkulu has dropped in me that's coming. It's called The Forgottens. And in that book, I'll be talking about abantu that think ukuthi uNkulunkulu has forgotten about them. Let me tell you, even if ubona ngathi uNkulunkulu, the answer is giving you, akusile answer uyilindele. It's the same answer. What I learned from uJesu, makakhuleka kuNkulunkulu azoya esiphambanweni, he said, ngiyacela Nkosi ukuthi lesi sitsha masindlule, because the pain he was about to endure was too much for him. But he said, however, makungayenzeki intando yami, akwenzeki intando yakho.
Amen.
And the cross, even though umkhuleko kaJesu azange ususe isiphambano kuye, it did not remove the cross for Jesus, but it revealed the cross for us and the works of the cross to us. uNkulunkulu akamnikezanga akamsuselanga isiphambano so that isiphambano sivele kithi.
Powerful. We love you. May God bless you and keep you till we meet again. And I have faith that after tonight's prayer, chains will be broken.
Amen.
When we meet on the next episode, you'll be testifying. We love you. Shalom.
Amen.